Hey everyone, this is Andrew with Michigan Storm Chasers on the Michigan Storm Chasers podcast. I'm here with Kelly Clemmer, Director of Marketing for Ronald McDonald House Charities in Detroit, and my brother Matthew Boyer here, who is going to help us out with a lot of personal perspective. We're going to give you an insight into what they do here at Ronald McDonald House Charities, how that factors into what we do with Michigan Storm Chasers and our commitment to charity work. And we're going to have a nice conversation about this entire partnership and how excited we are about it. Kelly, you're a longtime follower of the page.
I am.
And we really, really appreciate it. And you just reached out into our inbox one day and said, hey, how can we use the platform here at MSC to get the word out about what we're trying to do here at RMHC? And I said that was perfect because I have a personal tie to Ronald McDonald House Charities specifically through Matthew. And if you follow the page, you know that I wrote up a post about it after our first visit here. And that whole thing, we were able to give the kids the tour of the storm chasing vehicle and all that, and tie it all together to the storms that a lot of these patients are facing in their lives and a lot of the issues that go on. And just know that, we at MSC, but also we as the audience in general, are here for them. And we're cheering them on, and we're making sure that we can do what we can, whether it be with a little stuffed animal or a little thing like that. We're doing our part to help out. Matthew, you want to take away, show your background a little bit, talk a little bit about.
Yeah, so I am a Ronald McDonald House kid is what I call myself. I was born with my disease, so I've had it my whole life. I've been to at least 4 or 5 Ronald McDonald houses across the nation, mostly in the Midwest. What I call home would be Rochester, Minnesota with Mayo Clinic. Now, I've been to a lot of Ronald McDonald houses just to kind of see and to share my story and to help other families or other patients or other kids to be like, hey, there's a version of this where you find a light. It's a great place because you don't quite realize you need a Ronald McDonald House until you need one. And so it's awesome to have some place to go, whether you're in my parents' point of view, when I was going through my situation at a very young age, there was another mom there to help my mom out and be like, hey, you got to get up. It's okay. Brush yourself off. We got to, get going, get moving. And here's who to talk to. They had people at the Ronald McDonald House that was able to help us out. Here's social worker. Here's this person you got to talk to. Here's how we get you food. Here's how we get you water. Here's how we get you to the hospital. Things of that nature. If it's not connected, some are connected, some aren't. Right. And so it's a great resource for a parent who didn't know they needed it yesterday.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's kind of my reasoning for reaching out, right? Like, it's for me from a marketing standpoint, right? Like, I'm always looking for ways to get the awareness out there about Ronald McDonald House, that when things happen in your life that you were unexpecting, when those storms grew up, right? Like, there's people helping. And I think that's what I always was inspired by your channel was, I used to be that kid that was like calling my mom like, oh yeah, they said there's a tornado warning, and like scared. And I wish there was an outlet like you guys back when I was a kid, because I wouldn't been so scared. It would have given me that peace of mind and that support of knowing what's coming, where it's at, how to be prepared, right? And so I kind of envision that for Ronald McDonald House too, of just knowing that if something happens, there's a community of people to help, the social workers, the house, the staff that works at the house, the other families that stay at the house. It becomes this huge, part of the medical journey in this community that has to support these families. And so just making sure, for me as a marketing person, like, people are aware that there's help when something comes up. And so that is one of the biggest hurdles we have to get over, is that when something happens to these families, they find themselves with a kiddo in the hospital, whether it be from an accident, from a diagnosis, from something during birth, right? Like, that these families know there's a place that is going to support them and make that every day, getting up and, to help them through that journey. It's just the awareness that we exist.
Yeah, so sometimes in these situations, when you're a parent and all you care about is being at that bedside with your child, completely understandably so, the nearest hotel is 3 miles away or further or whatever, and that's too far.
Correct.
Anything outside of that room is too far. They understand when they look into your eyes, that old Good Will Hunting quote, they understand the term visiting hours don't apply to you.
Yeah.
So you're there, but being able to get out of that darkness and in that space for just a little bit, to have a meal, to have just a place to get a couple hours rest is huge. And no one understands that until they need it.
Until they're in it, yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's many places, you know, even outside of Detroit, that care is still a distance away, right? So having to go to Rochester or these other places in the Midwest, you know, not everybody has a hospital 15 minutes away from them, and then also a hospital that might be specializing in the care that your child needs. So travel is a huge expense and a huge part of it. And so when you're anywhere needing pediatric care, there's probably a Ronald McDonald House pretty close, because that's what we're there for, to keep the families close to their child while they're in the hospital and to their medical team. And so like you're saying, like too, like hotels, that adds up when your child has to be in a hospital for months on end. Our houses are at either a zero cost or very low cost for these families to stay, and just take that burden off of them too, as like a medical finance standpoint too.
Absolutely.
So we
expensive,
get
so fast.
many patients from all over the world, and I'm sure you've encountered meeting families from other places as well.
When I was at Mayo, I've met families from like Jordan, Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, like a good portion of the Middle East, Eastern Europe, Albania, Czechoslovakia, Serbia, and Romania. That's Romania already. Just a few. And then I learned soccer stuff from Eastern Europeans growing up. That's one of the coolest things that, you know, how many people get access to that, you know, as a very sick 4, 5, 6-year-old kid who doesn't really have a lot of activity because he's sick anyway, but you find something I was able to enjoy with another kid playing with a ball about this big. It was a big fluffy ball, and we would go up and down the halls with his dad and stuff like that. And then I realized Eastern Europeans and Europeans in general are much better at soccer than we are. And so at a very young age, in me growing up, I was like, I had no idea what the world really looked like and then I started growing up, and I was like, wow, this is way different than what I'm used to. From rural, you know, the Midwest rural community to pretty densely populated location in Rochester, to then seeing the different communities come together in one, back then was small house.
Yeah.
Now it's not, but back then it was. And how much growth and everything else. It's amazing how much they've helped, especially my family. I was there for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough, and I got permission to stay until I was like 21. It was just so great being able to have the same faces and the same whatever, and you walked in, it's like, oh, that's Matt and Tammy. And so hit the button to let us in, and what room do you want, kind of thing. The rooms were great. And so some of the rooms, like when we were growing up, had bunk beds for families who had just more than just me. You know, so.
Which is a unique thing about the houses, is that they're all a little different.
A little bit different.
They all look different. They all, you know, like kind of pertain to the functionality of like the kind of patients they get, the kind of families they get, what kind of doctors they have in their system can dictate how big a house is. I mean, there's always room for growth, right? Which is what a lot of our houses are doing over the years, where we have other programs too. So like, the house might be the big one and most known, but there's also other programs that like different states or different countries have, where it might just be a family room, which is kind of a smaller version of a house that is right in the hospital system. Then there's other care mobiles and different things dependent on just your geographic or demographic of like the patients and the clients that families and medical teams deal with all over the world.
Right, the one I was at, there's like a lot of long-term, there's like 4 or 5 long-term care places. So basically there's like 4 or 5 rooms. They're basically big apartments, and so you get your own fridge in the apartment. You get more than one TV. You get a couch. You get all these things because you're there for at least 6 weeks or more. I had one family that was there. They're from Jordan. They had been there 8 months.
We just had a family here it was our record 515 days.
Wow.
They checked out. So that's our longest family we've had in Detroit.
Yeah. And let's just break that down from just a financial perspective. You know, you can get a hotel. This is Detroit. So like hotels in Detroit are a little more expensive than maybe just they're off the highway one. Say conservatively, it's $150 for a night.
Or $100 a night.
$100 a night, whatever. 515 nights.
Yes. So we saved them around $90,000, if not over that.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
yeah, so it adds up, especially facing medical bills of, hospital stays and medications and
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it ties back to that. Where are you going to lay your head at tonight? Ronald McDonald House has your back. They have you taken care of. And putting them into a place where we've touched on it already, and we're going to keep touching on it because it's such a big thing about what we do here. The community here. Matthew with the international soccer players and all that stuff. Like the parents come together and it's a support system.
Absolutely.
That you just don't get. If I stay at insert hotel name here, I talk to the front desk, I go up to my room, I speak to no one, I maybe call home or whatever, but there's no one around in the trenches with me.
Correct. Yeah.
Whereas here, everyone is in the trenches in their own way. And sometimes it's similar or sometimes it's not. But you have a support system around you of parents who are going through the same traumatic experiences. And Matthew's brought this up before where they can talk about treatment. Like, oh, your child has a similar form of cancer to my child or whatever. Well, they told us he had this surgery and they told us, make sure you wash it every 3 days or whatever. Well, change the bandage every 3 days or whatever. Really, you want to go 2.
Yeah.
Like, it's those little things that just give you the edge, those trial and error things that raises your percentage of survival just a slight hair, which is
for sure
huge, astronomical.
As a sibling,
Yeah.
do you remember being there? Okay, yeah.
So for the Rochester house specifically, I can close my eyes and just map out the whole house. I've done there so many times, but they had just off the elevator, there was just this little playroom where it was like, and back then at the time it was like, the Nintendo Wii was like a big thing. They had one.
Yeah.
Whatever's happening to him, that's his thing. I got a Wii down here. I'm set.
Yeah.
And then it's that big thing where like my parents knew if they had a long day of appointments and things with Matthew and I was with them or whatever, just throw him in the playroom for a few hours here. He's safe. We already told him don't break anything. And I didn't. I'm happy to report. And but when you're there long enough, you understand like, oh, you can make some friends with the other siblings who are going through something similar, like, oh, what are you here for?
Right.
Kind of thing. And it's people fighting the same fight.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
A common ground.
It's just like my mom said when she was first going through stuff with me. It was, I declined pretty quick one night. She had been gone for 3 days, something like that. Stayed at the hospital. She came back to finally take a shower. And because the nurses were like finally convinced her, hey, we're going to be here. Like he's on monitors, it's on loud, we'll hear things go a certain way. We have your phone number. And so mom was able to go, and then like she was trying to figure out how do I get food, how do I get whatever. And back then it was a little bit different because there wasn't nearly as much funding for houses outside of really big areas in the really big houses. And so, and because it was out there what the charity was for, but it really wasn't as popular until a little bit after. And then more money started flowing through and it helped everyone out. For us, we got meal vouchers. And so we were able to take it. Here's, like it was a $15 meal voucher, $20 meal voucher. You hand it in and then it gets stamped or punched or whatever it was. And then you take it back to the house. And each place had a different kind of punch. And they would pay attention to what you had. And they marked it on their thing. And they eventually it got put into a system.
Yeah.
And so, and it covered the costs and everything like that. If we weren't able to do it, my mom was like, talk to the social worker. You're from this state. This is this social worker's name.
Yeah.
And so the connections and the things that my parents needed help with initially, having an experienced parent there to walk through the steps of how to get help and how to ask for help and things like that, while also being the advocate for your son or daughter or whatever. Like you're playing so many different roles. It's just very helpful to have someone who's in it with you.
Glad you mentioned the funding part of it too, right? Like we're not a shelter.
Correct.
Which leaves us out of the realm of applying for grants in that realm. And we also don't medically take care of the child. we're taking care of the system that supports the child. And so we also don't fit into grant categories sometimes too, because we're not directly affecting the kids. We're like, right?
But you are.
But we are. But it's hard to apply for grants and things that are out there. So like it is huge if, you know, people can financially, monetarily support their local house or
Absolutely.
donate time to make a meal or get a catered meal in or whatever that might be, to help with the pantry, like supplying, I mean, everything we all use at our house on a weekly basis, toilet paper, paper towel, all the things, coffee, you know, like all that kind of stuff, like we go through here tenfold. And of course, I know you mentioned at the beginning too, like the roundup dollars. So at McDonald's, like the roundup dollars do go to something. Like
Right,
the
absolutely.
brick and mortars that you see around the world, that money funnels all back to those families. They're our biggest corporate sponsor and always will be. And because of that reason, and it really does go straight back to that local houses wherever you are.
The importance of eating a home-cooked meal is huge. The psychological impact, the ability to actually just sit there and have something that was made from scratch. Because when you're sitting there and you're going through it, hospital cafeterias
Oh yeah.
offer
Yeah.
a certain quality of food. We're being nice. A certain quality of food. And if you have it for so many days in a row, it just starts sapping on your spirits.
Right.
It's just like,
oh
yeah,
my gosh, yeah.
here we go again.
Yeah.
It's lunchtime. I got to take the elevator down. But when you come down and someone has sponsored a meal, oh, we have insert restaurant here that catered the meal here. Oh, this is fantastic. I haven't eaten at this place in forever. Like I haven't even thought about this.
Right.
Or a family comes in and a church comes in big time. That's a big one in South Bend where our grandmother actually was a big one for that one. Casseroles.
Oh, good.
Just
yeah.
casseroles.
Yep.
Just anything you can do.
Two, we should do one for the homeless shelter when they did it. And the other place was Ronald McDonald House. And then sometimes she would donate some time. And then sometimes she would just drop it off because they already had enough volunteers.
Yeah, it's a huge key component too. Like I said, all the houses are different around the world a little bit.
Yeah.
But our mission stays the same throughout, no matter what. And then that is something that all of the houses try their best in whatever way, whether it still be a voucher or have community groups come in and make a meal at the house or sponsor, you know, supporting the financial costs of feeding families at their house. Like every house looks different around the globe, but that is something we always try to offer is just feeding these families, getting food in their bellies. Think of it, every day we go to work, right? And what's the first thing you think of at the end of work? Oh, what are we gonna have for dinner? What am I gonna make? What do I gotta go get at the grocery store? Like we eliminate that for those families after spending all day at the hospital and just sit, you know, the last thing they wanna do is cook. It's nice too for like the organizations that come in and cook a meal, at least at our house, that we have them cook a meal at our house. It's like just having that
Smell.
the smell, oh my gosh, the smells are so good. The smell and just like seeing that your community cares about you.
Absolutely.
Like you get it firsthand. They get to thank these organizations. The organizations get fulfillment out of knowing they helped somebody. Sometimes you just need a normal conversation too, like an outside conversation that isn't about the medical world. So like it's really nice to create that environment for them to and have those people, hey, make sure you eat, make sure you take care of yourself.
When I was in school and I was sick during school year, my stuff would get sent to me through FedEx or UPS or whatever. And they actually awesomely had a list of like teachers that would donate tutoring time to help you with your schoolwork so you didn't lose a year. When I was a senior in high school, I had a physics professor from the University of Minnesota, Rochester, come and teach me physics work. And I don't think I've understood physics faster and easier by anyone in my life. And so like something like that where they have resources and people are willing to donate time in different ways as a patient. And then also families who have to split up because the dad's got to go home or grandma or whoever's taking care of the kids at home. You know, they come up for a visit. It's a very different sense. And you just lose time because you're just so focused on being in the now that you don't even think about what are my next steps for tomorrow, next week. You know, things like that. And luckily there's support in the system to help you.
And that's one of the things that, you know, we're focusing on globally is like the continuum care, right? So like beyond our four walls, what else do these families need like before, during, and after their stay? So like emphasizing community again, like we only do so much, and then we have to rely on other parts of our community here in Detroit or Rochester or wherever it is to help these families navigate things beyond the house. And so we kind of are a conduit of that connector too.
Absolutely.
Like those other people are like, maybe you need a haircut, maybe you need, you know, like who knows? Like
in the hospital there was a barbershop.
Some of them have it.
Really?
Yeah.
I know that one.
Yeah.
The local guys would come down every Thursday or Friday. They'd come up to your room. They'd be like, let's set up real quick. And they'd set up their little chair, or they'd do it on your bed, and they'd change your sheets, and they'd take it away. And, you know, that little things like that is like...
Do you remember like anything that like came from the house that like gave you comfort, or
So for
like
us,
something being a patient?
Well, we had pillows, and then we also had blankets.
Okay.
And so we could either make them, or they had them there. And so I had a Green Bay Packer blanket. One of the other kids who was from Chicago, his family was Bears fans. He was a Packer fan. And so Danny would just carry around his Packer blanket. I had my Packer blanket. He was 7, I was 17. That's how we kind of bonded. And then we played board games. We played, you know, things like that. Just so the little distractions help mentally, because you escape just a little bit, and your brain doesn't quite think about what it needs to do to survive. Your brain's now, I need a 6 on this dice roll.
Right.
Or Tony is going to bury me. Yeah. Like,
it's so important. We try to tell organizations that too. Like if you can't come in and like make a meal or volunteer your time, sometimes like with us, our house isn't big enough to host a volunteer day for this corporate office, right? Like we can't have hundreds of people in here, but if they do like an off-site blanket making day or things like that, or we had a bracelet making day, or like your guys' little like you know, stuffed animals, like those little things that can be brought to the house still make a difference. They still get to the patients. They still
donation basket. And you could grab a stuffed animal, you could grab a pillow, you could grab like I had memory foam pillows donated, and I had them for almost 15 years. I finally got rid of them. They finally fell apart, I think 3 years ago. My wife looked at that thing and she was like, it's
time to go.
And I was like,
but that's awesome.
It's
So like,
sentimental,
you
yeah.
remember that. Yeah. It's like, it's a part of you.
oh yeah, it's I didn't realize how much I would enjoy like the little things. Then you get older and you're like, wow.
The right thing.
Those things make a difference. It changed my days. It changed my nights. It changed, you know, whatever. And then like sometimes it'd be like music, or it'd be like a CD would be donated. And in my case, it'd be CDs. And then in the playroom, it started with arcade games. So you had your Pac-Man, your Street Fighter, your things of that nature. And they eventually evolved to like a PlayStation or whatever else. But the big thing that I had was pinball machine. And we just sit there and play pinball all day.
He got so good at pinball.
Yeah.
Over his,
And I could barely, I could barely see over the top. So I was just waiting for the reaction of the ball coming through the mid-range.
Yeah.
And then try and hit it or whatever else. And obviously just, And then they put, and then on Windows XP had the pinball game.
Yeah.
And so like, when they finally put in some computers to do emailing and things like that, like for me, they had community computers. That was new when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So I was able to connect with my friends through social media and message friends of mine back home. And so I didn't feel as alienated or as separated from my community back home and my support system at home. The great thing about houses is they facilitate your life to stay on rails, because the hiccup almost derailed your life. And then they were able to like, all right, let's catch you, put you back on, and let's keep you going, because, you don't get to stop, because your kid needs you. You need someone to help you just a little bit, because a lot of times it's like, all right, how do I help the patient? And then no one's like, how do I help the caretaker?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you're chugging along on your train, and then all of a sudden you hit something happens and your tracks start to go all over the place. You start to derail a little bit.
A storm.
Yeah. Right. A storm, if you will. The parent is still trying to keep you in your seat and keep you going at the sacrifice of the train. They're going to try and protect you. All right, well, the Ronald McDonald House Charities is like, let's put you back.
Yeah.
And it's almost like in my mind, it's like an act of God kind of, I got you to set up here. You can go take care of your kid. let's get your meal taken care of. Let's get your sleeping taken care of. Let's get you taken care of the best you possibly can for the situation, because it's not easy. I mean, you're going through probably some of the worst days of your life in a very finite amount of time. Your minutes can feel like hours. And you not knowing what the next CT scan look like, what's the MRI look like, what's the blood test gonna look like?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, like my tomorrow could be 15 different doctors. Like my record, because I was starting to teach my case as I was getting older, our record for doctors in our room is 17. I had 2 PhD urologists studying my case. I had the entire our general surgery resident group came in at Mayo because they wanted to study my surgical cases with Dr. Moyer. And, it's just the amount of people that were just there that wanted to see how I could speak about my case in a way that was somewhat easy. It was easy to consume and teach residents who were not only learning general practicing, but also some of the specializations that they were going through. Like fellows were trying to figure out general, like they were a general surgery fellow. Okay, I want to specialize in general surgery, or I want to specialize in urology care. I want to specialize in gastric care. Things like that. Like, I had all those doctors because they were doing a bigger conference, and my case came up, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, he's here," and they're like, "Okay, let's go see him."
Yeah.
And then they walk in, and I'm just like, "What is the clown car?" And I'm 16. years old, 17 years old, and they're just still filling up my room because at Mayo they have great rooms for pediatrics. And I'm looking around, and then it was all a ploy. After I was done telling them my case, they squirted me with water. They had little baby bottles, like they have for like the dolls and stuff. They pulled them all out of their pocket and got me all wet.
That's good.
And so like that was one of the cool things that I got to experience.
Yeah, and you touched on this, and I wanted to kind of circle back on it. The community of Danny specifically. Correct. But there was a thing that was around that phase that you guys did that I wanted to get more specific about, was the Farkle games.
Right.
Where each kid had their own. My mom had this big family-sized tin of the game itself, and it had its own 6 or 8 different colored cups that you had the dice in. Like Yahtzee comes with the one, you pass it around.
Yeah.
We got sick kids.
Yeah.
So you disinfect all of them, and then you hand them out. Each kid gets their own color.
Yeah.
7 different colors.
Okay.
And they're playing the games and all that stuff. Matthew's, like you said, he's 17, but there's 7-year-olds that he's best friends with, and being in those moments and getting competitive. They're not competitive. They don't get the chance to be competitive. They're fighting something totally
else.
different.
Yeah.
It's a fight. It's not a competition.
Correct.
It's a fight.
Correct.
And so being able to have those moments and have that camaraderie, game changer.
Yeah.
And that parlays into Ronald McDonald House having events that are set up throughout the week to break up the mundane, the grind that is the schedule for these parents and these kids. It's every kid has his own Farkle game. They come together, they play together. It's inviting a storm chasing
team
to come hang out with the car.
One of the donors donated preseason Viking tickets, and you have to find your way up to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Or Minneapolis or whatever, but
we get that often too. Like, we work with the different groups to just like offer families that if they'd like to get away in the evening or whatever it is, just to have a little
Lions, Piston, Tigers, whatever.
Sports teams, we get concerts, which is amazing that these people like don't even like.
I got to go watch Adrian Peterson play.
Yeah, like. Right.
Yeah.
And we just sent a family to the Lions preseason game thanks to a donor that gave some tickets. So like
it's the same thing.
Yeah, but to get out of that, like the house is there to get them out of that hospital feeling, right? Like I've often heard like to get away from the beeping, just a minute away from some of that. Yeah, the humming, the hustle bustle of a hospital. It's just, it's as much as they're very loving and caring, it gets, it's a lot. And so to step away and be in an environment that feels out of that, but then you're sometimes here at the house for months.
Exactly.
And you're kind of like, okay, we're a little cabin feverish. So it's nice when also organizations or individuals are like, hey, I'm not using my season tickets today. Let's give them to a family.
They had someone, at least where I was at, they call a child life specialist. Her job was to plan a month of activities and every single night was something, whether it was a movie, whether it was bingo, whether it was whatever, and then there was donated prizes for winning those things.
Yeah.
And so kids could go up to the prize box.
Yeah.
And you got a prize.
Yeah.
I had this dog that was a stuffed dog that was this tall, and I won it in a bingo game. And then but this other kid really wanted it, and I was like, and I live back then, it's 450 miles away.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to ship this dog back to where I live in Michigan. So I was like, okay, you live here, you fit it in your car, because we didn't have space.
Right.
And so he got a more than life-sized dog.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what ever happened. I don't think I ever saw the child again, but awesome.
Right.
Absolutely. And part of that, there's partly off of that, what a great story. Fun one. So we're visiting Matthew in one of the houses that he was in, and the coordinator comes up and they're like, okay, we've got movie night coming up. Everyone's really excited about it. It's like, we're going to introduce these kids to Back to the Future. Great movie. Yeah. One of my favorites. It's in my top 5.
Same.
And for sentimental reasons and because it's a great movie.
Yeah.
But they didn't watch it beforehand.
Oh.
So it's PG. It's a PG movie, but 1985 PG is a lot different than today's PG. So they take all the kids from all around and the whole house, everyone's in the room, and you hear Marty, Ape. Oh no, there's a lot more swearing in a PG movie in 1985. And the staff is just, they're like, oh no, we may have, but they're not going to turn it off. They don't have a,
like, because everybody's so
back. They don't have, there's no backup movie. They had this DVD they brought from home. So
you're speaking of the ages.
Yes.
Out.
So they power through, and they're just like, but the kids are laughing.
And that's all that
so much. And I've kind of thought about this like since then, and they're going through the whole movie, and there's, he said, and she's, but the reason why they're like, they have a story, then they have a you had to be there story.
Yeah.
Everyone's got those where it's like not as funny after you tell it kind of story. Yeah. But if you were there, it's the funniest thing in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. We had a family from Texas, and so the daughter was a little younger than the brother. And so mom and dad and daughter came, I think kind of quickly. They like kind of rushed the surgery. So they came up from Texas. They left brother at home with his grandparents. And after the surgery was complete, like they talk, parents talk to grandparents, and they find out brother's not doing the best on his own. Like he kind of obviously, yeah. So they fly brother up here. And at the same time, like after the surgery, sister was slow recovery, right? And once brother was here, her recovery started just
changing drastically.
Oh yeah. And then his joy to be with his mom and dad, and then like here we were trying to provide, he's a very sports kid.
Right.
So we like went out, we bought him some Tigers stuff, because now you gotta be a Tigers fan.
Yes.
And we didn't have a mitt for them to play catch in the yard, and I kind of caught wind of that, and I went to our operations manager. So we had to go buy a mitt for him, like so he can play catch with his dad. You know what I mean? And like just, we're like our staff. I know here. I know globally. That's just what we
do. The mindset of everyone we've ever met around McDonald's. They think of those little things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I know we've talked about it before, the statistic of like 1 in 4 people either know somebody or has had to utilize a house sometime in their life, and it's an amazing like success story to see you guys speak firsthand, not only from like obviously your parents and they have told you how impactful it was, but you guys lived it as the patient and sibling side.
Absolutely.
Which is just like, just gives me chills.
Absolutely. And we got confirmation of that. You guys saw my post most likely on the page where I talked about our first day out here. You guys rolled out the red carpet for us and everything, and that family that we met was so amazing. They were troopers in every sense, and being able to just have a little bit of impact in that time in their storm, as we say.
Yes.
But that post getting the traction it did, it speaks to the statistic that you just stated. 1 in 4. I mean, if you go back to the post, you look at the comment section on it, it's my nephew, my niece, my brother, my son, my daughter had to spend time in the hospital. Ronald McDonald House was there for us. It matters. And being able to partner with you and tell that story and tell our stories as well, just to give a very in-depth view of what it is that you guys do and the great impact that it has.
Aw, well, thank you.
Is huge. And that family that we met actually did end up taking, I know if you saw like the post, the little boys brought a bear that we had brought for them. And what nobody saw was Matthew and I kind of saw it. We get done and we hang out with Kelly and everybody here. But we go out and we're done and we're in the parking lot. And their car just by chance happens to be next to ours. And then we kind of look over and we notice that the kid who was the patient is in the back seat and he's just holding that thing. Aww. And he is just, oh my gosh, Mommy, I can't wait to take this to my appointment when they're giving me shots or whatever, when they're doing that. And I'm just sitting there like they already made my heart melt from the moment. Like you guys,
they were so excited.
You didn't tell us about.
Excited to meet you and see you guys and just welcome you.
Yeah.
Because to them, like they're little, but they've already been part of the Ronald McDonald House system. And for like I think for them it was like them welcoming you to their house.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
they're always like like even when the mom was telling me a story once about like she said she didn't feel good, and the older brother that was the patient, he goes, we should go to Ronald's house. And just for him to like
equate that with care.
If you don't feel good, this is the place that will take care of you.
Yeah.
I thought it was so sweet.
So tying it all back to the day that we came here, Chandler and I. So we walk in and the warmth is there right away, which is trademark from Cree, you guys. And then we're riding the elevator and Chandler and I are like, well, I don't really know what to expect. Are we going to have to go to Kelly's office? Is she going to be here waiting for us? We don't know. We're trying to like work out the logistics of how the day's going to go. And then beep, the doors open up as these little kids with their homemade signs like, welcome storm chasers. And they're shaking them. And I've been to many of these things in my life. Okay. But as like my role as the sibling and his as the patient, like when we go to a Ronald McDonald House, it's pretty somber. They're taking care of you. They're like, oh, come on in, we got you, we got your back, But here it was like, it was a different level. So I looked over and I wish you could have seen my face when I was like, oh boy. Oh, I did not know how to like handle this situation.
You're like, this is a whole different dynamic.
With the sign versus the person walking through the door.
Yeah.
Different experience.
Life imitating, like like a mirror kind of.
Huge, and I was like, it's different now.
Yeah.
This is a new way of doing this. Like, they never greeted me like this before. But we go in and we sit down with the family and Matthew able to share his story with them. The mother is an absolute warrior. As much as you don't want someone to be built for this or able to handle this kind of burden, she is.
Aww.
And she can handle it, and she's doing it with grace. She's still an amazing role model to her kids and handling it all with the best attitude she possibly can. So she was really reminding me a lot of my mom. So being able to sit there, Matthew's able to talk to her son who has his storm that he is going through right now. Yeah. And Matthew's able to talk to him from the perspective of someone that's been there. And when you have these life-threatening things at such a young age, and you look at someone who is old, and you have someone who is his age, who you don't think about it from the perspective of someone who's 33, 34 or whatever, like, he made it that far.
Yeah.
Right. You don't, no one ever thinks about 33, 34 as you made it that far.
Correct.
Just like these kids who are going through these storms.
Told you might not.
Exactly.
My last expiration date was 14 and a half.
Yeah. Exactly. And look at him now.
Wow.
He has a family of his own, a wife and everything, and no one ever saw that to be possible. And so those kids looking at Matthew and saying like, oh.
They've done it too.
They've made it.
Yeah.
Right.
This is what making it looks like.
Yeah.
Right.
And getting them to go down and see the storm chasing vehicle, what we chase in, and them sitting in that driver's seat, hitting the air horn. Air horn's fantastic. We got the air compressor in the back. Storms get loud.
I was the one asking about the air horn.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to be that loud. They loved that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Storms get loud. Regular horn doesn't work. It doesn't work in that case. We got to clear the road a little bit. We got the air compressor in the back. We hit that button. They know we're there.
Yeah.
So, and those kids, wait, you get that little video. You can see it on the MSC page. You can see it. They walk up. Chandler goes, I just hit that little button right there. Just go look. And it's, and like, they jump. Everybody jumps. It's a whole thing. And seeing them with that joy.
Yeah.
And then, like I said earlier, seeing them in the parking lot, where knowing that it wasn't just like, okay, thanks, see you later. We got to get back to it. They were still beaming.
Yeah.
They were still so locked in. Like,
well, you've made another impact on the connection of good things happen at Ronald McDonald House, fun things, right? Like it's a joyous place. It's not dampened by the burden of appointments, surgeries, just all that. Like it's a safe space for them.
Right.
So that's why we're so excited about this partnership and about everything we've gotten to do with you guys already and the things we're going to continue to do in the future.
Yeah.
It's an amazing partnership. I am so passionate about it. This one in particular because of personal reasons, but it's opened the door to so much more nonprofit work that we're going to get to do here at MSC, where we can make that kind of difference for so many other people and work with various nonprofits in various sectors and just make their days a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because of what we do here and the following that we have, and we thank you so much for being a part of that, because it helps us be able to do this. And we hope to be able to expand that work and really get in with the other houses and see everything across the state of Michigan. We love it. We love to be entrenched in this state and everything. We kind of say behind the scenes our goal is to be just as recognizable as ginger ale and M&M. Verner's and M&M.
That's a great
Verner's,
goal.
M&M, MSC kind of thing. So and being able to help every aspect of the community in this state as we've started to do here and as we will continue to do is huge. And I can't stress enough how much we appreciate you and you for reaching out to us and helping us get started with all this great work we're going to be able to do. So Kelly, could you just tell us a little bit about how you can get involved, best way to talk to you guys?
So the best way is for us here in Detroit, our website is RMHC-Detroit.org. But if you're not in the Detroit area, there are 3 other houses across the state. So you can look up a little Google search for your nearest Ronald McDonald House to support local, or visit our global website, which is RMHC.org. And you can also use the location tool there to find your closest house, or just pick a house to support monetarily. So yeah, every little bit helps, and every piece of care or roundup we appreciate.
If you enjoyed that, be sure to follow us on Facebook if you're not already. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Our streams are over there during the severe weather events. We're always on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch.tv. You can follow us on Instagram, X, any social media platform you can think of. Michigan Storm Chasers, we're there for you. Our motto here is that we're here for you from start to finish. So when that weather goes severe to even after. If you have some issues, we are here for you and weathering all sorts of storms in life. So give us a follow. We would really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in.